We're going where you want to go so you can be where you need to be. It's Road Gang Radio with Lindsay, Lawler, and Jimmy Mack on RadioNemo.com.
Let's go. Hey, Jim, let's go. Let's go. Where you say? Right here. Let's not go anywhere. Let's stay right here because our next guest, I am so excited about this conversation. Jim, this checks every box of the type of things we talk about on this show.
I've got a few pins left, Road Gang pins, members of the Road Gang pins of the 500. I mean, I'm down to fumes on pins. Okay. But I got one for this guy. Yeah, this guy, absolutely. This guy of the 500 pins, this guy needs to be a member. He's a musician. He's an entrepreneur. Jason Walsmith, with his wife Emma, faced a challenging time during the COVID-19 outbreak. With all of the canceled gigs, he and Emma were faced with what's next. Several months to make ends meet, they decided to do what they do best: travel, tell stories, celebrate live music. So they loaded up their Storyteller Overland mode and set out on the I'll Play Anywhere Man tour, a series of outdoor, socially distanced private shows across the U.S. The story itself is the story. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but I want people to go to JasonWalsmithStoryteller.com. I want you guys to check out his band, thenadas.com. I want you to check out the amazing product that he has in GuitarSatchel.com. You can find him on the gram of Insta at the Racontourists, at Instagram Brilliant. On the Nadas, and Instagram on Guitar Satchel. And by the way, the Racontourists, the idea of using the combination of the word raconteur, one of my favorite words of all time. I mean, not just a storyteller, but a storyteller extraordinaire, and then merging it with the word tour, Lindsay. So I'm on the road telling tall tales and living large is probably the best description we can have for Jason Walsmith, who joins us this morning here on Road Gang Radio, musician, traveler, writer, raconteur. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, you guys. Thanks for having me. That was an amazing intro. I appreciate that.
Oh, you lived it. We just said it. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, it sounded better coming out of your mouth than it did out of my pen to write that down. So thank you very much.
From your pen to his mouth. So, Jason, here's the deal. You, as you know, I think you're because you were recommended to us by one of your friends who's been on our show, which is also really cool. So you know that we have the vast majority of our audience are over-the-road truck drivers. And, you know, you had so we'll obviously tie that all into to you, how you're making your living and your life out on the road. But let's go back to COVID here because you pivoted.
Pivot?
During COVID, and you and your wife, you faced, you know, of course, canceled gigs and the what's next question. I'm curious to you if in COVID, the what's next was a conscious decision or not, because there's a lot of people, like, for instance, my husband traveled for a living. He worked on travel shows, so he was forced home. I'm a musician. I was forced home. And we actually almost sold our house and bought a tour bus during COVID and lived on it. And we would be divorced today had that have happened. Let me be the first to tell you right now. I'm so glad we sidestepped that. But that being said, we were consciously having the conversation about the pivot, about the shift, about how COVID was going to pivot, how COVID was going to change our whole life. But I think some other people just sort of blindly walked, whether it be out of desperation or fear or scarcity, into kind of the next thing. How conscious were you and Emma about this shift and okay, we're going to go take everything that I know and now pivot it over here? Was that a conscious move? Oh.
So we knew it was a roll of the dice. You know, we bought that camper van and it cost a little bit more than my house at the time that I was living in. But also I couldn't drive my house and go play shows, you know, and I couldn't play the traditional venue shows that I'd played for so many years. So I just had to find a new way to do it, you know. And so it was a conscious decision, but we had no idea if it would work or whether we would get along on the road, like you just said with your husband, although we got along beautifully. We're great travel partners, and I love traveling with her. So
do you have kids or animals with you on the road? You don't, right?
We don't have kids with us on the road. My kids at the time were finished high school and just finishing high school. Okay. And I had them half the time So when we mostly traveled when they weren't supposed to be with me anyway. COVID was weird. It messed everything up. I had them for the first 90 days just with me because their mom was a nurse. And so they stayed with me. And then after that, they went with her for a while, and that's when I hit the road solid. And then I would go out for a week at a time and come back for a week at a time after that. So,
Gotcha.
But dogs, man, our dogs are road warriors. We were traveling with 2 dogs at the beginning, and then we picked up a tiny little miniature dog to add to the pack, and did about 100,000 miles with that guy too. So,
let me ask you about the dogs just for a real quick second in regards to their own needs out there on the road, of course, because, dogs let you know when they got to go. And I was kind of curious if actually having them acted as a regulator, if it actually made traveling easier. Some people, it makes it more difficult because they're not ready for the idea of having an animal out there. But some people have told me that they actually love having the animal because the animal reminds them to kind of slow down and enjoy the ride, that you can't rush with a dog.
I would say that was a big part of it. So this whole adventure for me was a departure from what I'd done for the 25 years prior to that, as far as how we traveled. With the band, it was big cities, interstates, and interstate hotels, and really a lot of night, driving through the night. We did 13 years in a bus, which is a whole different story that I'd love to tell you about because it's amazing. But most of the time vans. But the impetus this time was because of all of our band gigs got canceled. My partner in the band was like, we have to sell the band van. We had just gotten this cool Sprinter with bunks in it, like a little baby band van. And I resisted. I was like, no, we can hold on to it. He's like, no, we got to sell it. We can't make these payments. And so it was that where I said, okay, let's sell it. Then I'll buy what I've always dreamed about, which is an adventure van to go out and hit the back roads and camp in the wilderness and then I'll play shows in between, but I don't have to play every day because I'm not trying to feed a band. I'm just playing anywhere, man. That's why I called it the I'll Play Anywhere Man tour. And I played on the top of, buttes in Montana, and I played on beaches, and I played in people's driveways and cul-de-sacs and docks and, any place that people could gather in small groups, but kind of keep a distance because we were conscious of that at the time. And, it was amazing. So it was a totally different kind of touring, and it created this like renaissance for me personally, creatively, and how I viewed the world and what I got to see and do. It was amazing.
There's a billion places I want to go with this here. But I'll start with bringing it back to our audience again, because it's the I'll play everywhere, man, anywhere, man. Of course, obviously a play on that. That's such a truck stopping song that you're playing off of. And I'll play anywhere, man. Yep. Two things come to mind. First of all, I love that that when you strip the band away and it came down to you, what do I want to do? You could be anywhere. My guitar player has played Madison Square Garden, and he's played truck stops and campfires with me. And he's like, I don't care as long as I'm playing music, and I'm like, it's the playing music and the connection piece that lights him up. And it seems like that's what you're doing here. So from the connection piece, first of all, I know you've got stories from the road, but have you crossed paths with truck drivers out on the road on this I'll Play Anywhere Man tour?
Oh yeah. I mean, I probably shouldn't pull brand favorites, but we got into a regular routine of stopping at certain truck stops that had catered to our needs that we liked. We spent a lot of nights at truck stops too when we weren't in the backcountry, and there's certain truck stops, a lot of them that have dog parks, and we utilize those dog parks, and we really appreciated that. And so yeah, definitely interacted with truck drivers and appreciate sharing the road with them. I'm doing this call from the driver's seat of a pickup truck just to be in the motif, to be as immersed in the call in the right way as I can.
Well, but here's the thing. So the venues everywhere, this really, again, so Jason, we have the first part of our show. The first 2 hours of our show is how you make a living on the road. The second 2 hours is how you make a life on the road, which puts you anything that you can see or do, the going and doing out on the road. And again, you played beaches, boats, farms, you name it. And I feel that playing like truck stops, backyards, on moving vehicles. So is it about playing anywhere just for the love of the music? Or is it really I guess the question is on the Anywhere tour, is it because you really just love music that much, or it's the stories you tell and then the stories you get from the road, or D, all the above, which is, I assume, the answer?
I think it's all the above for sure. And I mean, I can't express enough how much I consider this job to be a collaborative thing. Like, I would play by myself on my own front porch because I love music. But to me, the audience, this like partnership with an audience, is the energy exchange that happens is like the fuel for my life. And so I did this because people really needed it at the time, and I really needed it. And going out there and meeting people and hearing their stories and telling their stories, but that exchange, that collaboration is what inspires me. So it's all the above, like you said. And I did see a lot of similarities with the truck drivers out there. You know, there's a lot of people who I think that spirit of adventure is a little bit of what drives them, you know, and it is an excuse to be on the road. Like, I always consider my guitar like my ticket to adventure. And I think I would assume that there are a lot of truck drivers who think of their truck and their occupation in that same way. I don't know, but I see kindred spirits in that way.
Let me ask you something. So we have the idea of something, then we do the something, and it's only in the aftermath of doing the idea that we had that we really kind of figure out what it actually was. We think we know what it is, but then we do it, and then we figure out, oh, wait, it was that. Over the course of playing everywhere, over the course of being on top of buildings and porches and in backyards and all the other places, did you begin to kind of figure out anything about your own artistic life? Meaning, did it change the way you would write songs? Did it change the way you understood the way audiences work? Did it change your understanding of who you were as an artist? And what I'm asking is there kind of a theme or a manifesto that began to emerge given the decision you make? Like I said, you go out on the road, you do the thing, and now that I've had time to think about the thing, I understand the thing. Do you have a better understanding of what you were up to now that you're actually doing it on a regular basis?
I do. I mean, I think I was onto something because I've done it for a long time. So I think I was already pretty aware of what I was getting into, but it definitely like validated all of my previous thoughts, and taking that risk and doing it that way opened up a whole new world for me. You know, I was in the grind of the norm of what being a working, you know, kind of blue collar musician was. We've always been an independent band. We just went out there and we grinded on the road and played shows. This allowed me to kind of like have the perspective, I think is what you're asking about, to like kind of step back a little bit and realize why I do it, what it does for me, what it does for other people in a different way. And like, I still play a lot of venues. I still play a lot of the same circuits, and I still play with the band The Nautas. We put a record out last year, but I also appreciate the difference and the opportunity. I just played, I'm in South Dakota right now. I just played on this 3,000 acre 5th generation cattle farm out in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, last weekend. And instead of arriving in the afternoon, playing an evening show, and then being gone either that night or early in the morning, I was there for 4 days, and it was this like ranch retreat with, you know, guys from all over the country it was like a wellness retreat sort of. But I got to, not only did I play shows, I played around a campfire. I played in the middle of, you know, circles of people sharing their story, and then I would share a song that would relate. And so I think I'm answering your question in saying that
perfectly.
There's so much more than just entertainment. It was like the fullest expression of what I feel like I am as a singer-songwriter, to be a part of a group and immerse myself in everybody's sort of story, you know?
Not only do I know, my co-host, by the way, when you talk about the idea of driving into South Dakota to actually go perform on a cattle ranch just because, I mean, in many ways, you're totally speaking her language. She is just like sitting here going like, really? Go on about other odd places you've played at. There must be a sense of the idea that even the smallest corners, you know, Lindsay mentioned her friend playing guitar for her around a campfire, and, you know, that there are people out there who are in the middle of nowhere who are hungry and lonely for, and I hate to use the word culture, but any sort of what I would call entertaining connection that you begin to realize how important that is for people's existential existence to have that kind of joy. Even in this interconnected world of signals and downloads and all that kind of stuff, there is still something kind of marvelous about the live and doing it in the real, even for the smallest group of people, right?
I would take it one step further even, is that there are people that are hungry and lonely, even who are amongst huge amounts of people. So, and like in this case, most of the people that attended this thing I did are pretty successful, C-level executives at different companies, doctors and things, and they're lonely and they need friends and they need to express themselves. They need to be able to feel emotion through song. And so that's everywhere. We're all feeling it, and I just feel really fortunate that I get to like be a part of that, because it feeds my soul, and I know that it helps feed other people's souls too. So.
Well, you're such an inspiration, and we just got a couple minutes left of you, and I want to be respectful of your time, because another reason you should download this man's music is because he's helping take care of his father, who we're sending some love out to, by the way, Jason, as well. And we want to let you go so you can go be with him. Another reason to love this man and support him. Download, don't just stream. Thank you. But anyway, I want to say too, what is so inspiring here is that you've combined anybody listening, this guy, Jason, to me, you are living the dream. And by that, I mean your own dream. You found a way to marry music, photography that you also love and do so well, music, photography, writing, and entrepreneurship, which I'm going to mention here in a second, each one funding the other, it feels like, in the cycle of like creativity and sustainability. And that is fascinating and amazing to me. That's like, you're on the road, you take pictures, you submit them to a magazine that is funding you to get to the next stop, to play the gig, to keep writing, to telling the stories, and you're really living the dream. And then also creating these guitar cases to travel with. You created something out of a necessity for you that then filled a niche, and a lot of our drivers take their guitars out on the road. So my question to you and all that is, do you find yourself sitting now in the middle of this beautiful, perfect storm of creativity and sustainability as like, oh my God, I made this all happen? Do you feel that? Do you see how beautiful this life is? I feel that you do, but.
I do. I do feel very fortunate. Living the dream, yes, but I built the dream for sure.
Yeah.
And the dream is juggling. I'm juggling a lot. And sometimes I'm juggling bowling balls on fire, and sometimes they're chainsaws, sometimes they're rainbows and kitty cats, so it's just part of life. But yeah, I love
chainsaws it. And by the way, chainsaws and rainbows, your next side project, just a side gig, new band, carry on.
I do think that I've never been a truck driver, trucking professional. I do come from that family though. My grandpa had a transport company, but I do think that is a perfect use study for Guitar Satchel, because like if you're a touring musician, most of your guitars are in the trailer, in a flight case, but you always have the one that you want with you, and it would fit very nicely in the seat next to you in a truck or in the bunk, I would imagine. So I just made a soft case that's easier to carry and more enjoyable to carry, and I made what I wanted all these years. I just couldn't find it, so I made it.
It's Guitar Satchel. You can find them guitarsatchel.com and check those out. And looking at them myself, I can tell you it is the wonky thing. It's knocking people out when you're carrying it around. So the olden days. So I love that you made one. This one works. I will put my stamp on it as well. Granted, I don't carry my guitar with me, but Jim, I'm going to get one of these and just put my microphone in it and walk around and look like I'm a guitar player.
I have a small case for microphones. I have a small one.
Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
There you go, by the way. And yeah, and it's just, I love, by the way, that description in regards to invention, but also for art. I just love, there was something I wanted to hear. I didn't hear it, so I wrote it. There was something I wanted to read. I didn't find it, so I wrote it. There was something I wanted to use to carry my guitar. I couldn't find it, so I made it. Which in many ways, there was places you wanted to go and a person you wanted to be, and you couldn't find it at home, so you went out and found him on the road, and that's a really, really cool thing. Where are you going to be playing next? What's coming up the next couple of weeks? Not just the current gig, but what are some of the other places you're going?
Yeah, I'm in Iowa. That's where I live. I live in Iowa. I've got a couple small things in Iowa. I'm teaching songwriting at a writers retreat next week up in Okoboji, Iowa. And then I'm out in Colorado mid-October for a couple solo shows, and then band shows in December back in Iowa. So, yeah, this is we've just come off of the heavy traveling season, and now I'm riding out for a few things for the end of the year. So, yeah, my most of my dates are on that website. If I do it, if I put them on there, if I'm good enough at doing that. So.
Oh, dude, I get that. It's like, oh, right, I've already played the show, and I'll post it tomorrow, even though I've already played it. That's how I live. I get it. Jason Walsmith, such a pleasure. A fun place to follow them as the Racontourists. That's he and his wife, Jason and Emma Walsmith, over there on Instagram, especially for our travelers and our adventures here on our show. But you can find everything, get to everything about him at Jason Walsmith Storyteller.com. You are a beautiful human. You're the epitome of the kind of people we want around here. So thanks for making time for us today. Best to you, best to your father, Jason. And please come back again as more music comes out.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Enjoying listening to you and enjoyed having listening to Luke Meek's show. That was really fun. And so thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucas Meeks. Go back and check out that. That's up on our YouTube as well. This interview will also be up on our YouTube as of tomorrow. So much content. And